pro-Palestine, and of course I love a flag like that. I'm pro-Palestine. I've lost friends and acquaintances, but who cares? I have cats. I'm pro-Palestine. Of course I have an olive tree planted in my backyard, hopefully one day to be replanted in Palestine. I'm pro-Palestine, which is why my nickname is now Aji Khomeini, because I just won't stop talking about it.
Man, could you imagine if this just, got into the wrong hands? Perhaps somebody would use it as a guide as to what not to buy. You may be thinking, oh my god, that's basically everything. And honestly, I just know it's Americans that are saying that because I think that we're so used to having whatever we want. But it's really not. Like, there are alternatives. There are tons of alternatives. So, like, yeah, some of it's inconvenient. You'll have to find an alternative. But it's not the end of the world. This is a big one. L'Oreal literally supports the freaking military. They don't just vocally support. And I think that anybody who vocally supports, I think it's safe to say that it's not safe to buy from them either. I don't know about you guys, but boycotting one place can only do so much of a difference. But all of this costs money. Genocide costs a lot of money, so, all of these places, some of them are just vocal. But I think it's safe to say again that any place that's vocally supporting, it's not exactly safe. Making sure I got everyone. It's not safe to buy from them either. If they're vocally supporting, then, you don't want to risk it. They very well could be also supporting them fiscally. And I think, we're not going to die if we, CeraVe, for example, supports Israel. That's the face wash that I've been using for a long time. And I just recently ran out, and so now I have to find a different one. I've just been washing my face with, hand soap or in, water. But, oh yeah, it's my favorite face wash, but it's dude, I could find a different face wash, you know what I mean? But if they're sending money to Israel in order to do this, you're just making the execution easier. And I'm not trying to guilt anybody, I'm just saying, you gotta think about it. It's an inconvenience, but it is absolutely nothing compared to the people who are actually suffering at the hands of these companies who are funding the IDF. And funding Israel. And if you're supporting Israel, a great deal of their money goes to the IDF. So, do the freaking math. And for everyone that's oh, you're not going to tell me where to spend my money. This isn't for you, buddy. This isn't for you. This is for the people who actually care about human life. Okay? So just move along. Go on. Or actually comment something stupid, because then it's going to stir up some arguments, and those are the videos that do the best. So please do so.
Please don't talk to me about decolonization when you still speaking in the colonizer's language. See you genocide us, then you colonize us. See you sterilize us, and now you fetishize us. See you stigmatize.
Ato chan YouTube pret rest for Oke, let's go. Mula-mula panaskan kuah minyak biar licin, kemudian masukkan 5 kg minyak masak, kemudian ambil bawang putih, ketuk, prak, cincang, kemudian tumis, kacau-kacau, kemudian ambil 1 kilo cili, kemudian ketuk, prak, cincang, kemudian masukkan kacau-kacau, kemudian ambil sebiji telurmu, pecahkan, kemudian lempar, ciao, kemudian kacau-kacau, kemudian ambil 1 entong sayur, nasi besti, campak, ciao, kemudian kacau-kacau, kacau, jangan tak kacau, kemudian tambahkan saus tiram, saus cili, kicap asin, tambahkan 1 sendok zakum, garam, aji namantra, kemudian kacau sampai api naik ke permukaan, kacau, and siap, kemudian lempar ke atas pinggang geng, siap, ini dia fried rice Yahudi, kemudian
So instead, they brought this little chunk, which is still a size of.
Ice is melting, seas are rising, and sailing on the waves are people trying to buy their status. I wonder if I'll ever get to see Aurora Borealis. Fumes cloud up our air, we're unaware that it's the end of the world. But I've been thinking a lot, maybe a little too much about the end of the world.
She's beauty, she's grace, and although her life was cut short while standing up for the Palestinian people, her legacy lives on in the late Alan Rickman's play, My Name is Rachel Corrie. Rachel Corrie was a 23-year-old American activist who was crushed by an Israeli bulldozer the same day this photo was taken. Witnesses say the act was deliberate while the IDF claimed it was accidental. When Palestinians held a memorial service for her a few days later, the Israeli military sprayed tear gas and even opened fire on mourners. Acclaimed actor Alan Rickman, along with Catherine Viner, based My Name is Rachel Corrie off of Rachel Corrie's own diary entries and email correspondence. Alan Rickman first staged the award-winning play in 2005 in London. The play was supposed to be transferred to the New York Theater Workshop in 2006, but the theater decided that because of its political content, it would be postponed indefinitely. Alan Rickman spoke out at the time about what he saw as censorship. He said, "Rachel Corrie was in nobody's pocket but her own. Whether one is sympathetic to her or not, her voice was like a clarion in the fog and should be heard." Rachel Corrie went to Gaza to support Palestinians whose homes were being destroyed. In her diaries, Rachel Corrie recorded the exact amount of time Palestinians waited at checkpoints. She talks to a doctor who knows that the home it took him 30 years to afford can be destroyed in 3 hours, but he says, "I trust in my God, so no problem." Despite the backlash, the play continued to be staged in many countries by brave acting professionals, and it was produced for the first time in Corrie's hometown of Olympia, Washington in 2017. At the age of 10, Rachel Corrie wrote a poem about how children everywhere are suffering and wrote that she wanted to stop hunger by the year 2000. At the age of 19, she wrote to her mom, "I know I scare you, but I want to write and I want to see. Let me fight my monsters. I love you, you made me." When Rachel arrived in Rafah, Rickman wrote that her writing changed dramatically and you could feel the growing fear. So if you're looking for a role model, read more about Rachel Corrie. And if you work in the arts, please follow the example of Alan Rickman, who staged My Name is Rachel Corrie.
I just don't know what to do. Like, my whole feed is about Palestine, and like, I don't know how we're supposed to just move on from this. You don't. We don't just move on. We remember this and we keep talking about it. And then when we stop talking about it, we keep talking about it some more.
Talk to me about the night. What do you guys remember right before this happened?
Tahsin and I were both wearing the kufiya, like the traditional Palestinian headscarf, for a variety of reasons. Like, I mean, like, practically because it was really cold, but on a more, like, you know, meaningful sense, it's because that we felt as Palestinians during this time period, it's important for us to show our identity and to show that we exist and that we're human. Just walking along the street, you know, this man comes down the porch, approaches us, pulls out a pistol, like, I just remember gunshots and falling down.
Did you know you were shot?
I didn't quite process the fact until I, like, looked at my phone and I saw my phone had blood on it. I was like, oh, I'd been shot.
Was your mind sort of like comprehending this is happening in Burlington, Vermont to me?
Not that I'd always expected something like this to happen, but something like this, you know, growing up in Palestine, this was something that I'd always thought was possible.
But did you think it happened here?
Not really, no. I definitely expected it would happen to me in, like, the West Bank in Palestine, but not in Vermont.
Fair. That is not fair! That is not fair! 74 is the perfect!
Fuck your value for human life if it doesn't include the people fighting for it. All this fucking genocide and ethnic cleansing for 75 years. Most urgently, today, and some of y'all still have notes on how Palestinians are supposed to act. Our role in the empire is to get our governments, institutions, everything and everyone to cut ties ideologically, financially with Israel, so that the resistance and Palestinians can take back what's ours. We're not gonna get all of these lives back. So your stupid fucking sympathies and tears don't mean shit out of principled solidarity with the Palestinian people. That doesn't mean that we stop here. On the contrary, we keep going. We keep refining our solidarity every day in the streets, digitally, with your friends and family, because we've got a lot we need to unweave here. And if you believe for a moment that Israel in any capacity has a right to exist, then you are either a genocidal racist that does not trust Palestinians, or you're a stupid fucking idiot who is clearly not paying attention to what's going on at all. Get your shit together in thought, word, and deed. And yes, we are still calling for a ceasefire because it still informs the same narrative that we should not be sending billions of dollars worth of bombs and weapons and other material support to fund Israel's genocide and ethnic cleansing of the Palestinian people. And you don't actually have any value for human life if you can't get with this program. Because Palestinians were not born just to die as pawns for imperial gain.
This is from an Israeli official. He works for COGAT, which is the organization that deals with humanitarian aid in Israel. He says there is no hunger in Gaza. There were stockpiles of food in Gaza. Don't forget that this is an Arab Gazan population whose DNA is to hoard, certainly when it comes to food. Now, in the past, there was a very famous man who blamed another group and said it was in their DNA to hoard. You guys might be able to guess who that man was. Now, these are Gazans who have come out of hiding to get to food supplies that have been brought in. Pretty much every trustworthy organization has said that people are going days without anything to eat in Gaza. They are starving. My grandfather is from Jaffa, and if he would have gone south instead of north when he was forced out, I could have been a Gazan. It is not in my DNA to hoard. This is so clearly racist, and this is from an Israeli official who is in charge of humanitarian aid. And the guys in charge of humanitarian aid are saying things like this and advocating for the starvation of a people. Tell me how this isn't an ethnic cleansing, a purposeful ethnic cleansing. And, you know, here is the evidence that they're trying to do it. I can't with this anymore, guys. I can't. If you don't see this for what it is, I don't think you ever will. God bless y'all.
Shanice. Yeah? Your mouth is moving a lot like a rat. Yappa, 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 yappa. Shut it, please.
Palestine protests, all these white Australians out there, give them back their land. So these Aboriginals on the grass, like, what the? Give who back their land? We don't even want the land. We want you to increase the satellite. Just increase the Senate. You know how expensive fuel is? I can't even afford to sniff it anymore.
Let's address this video. Imagine using harmful, racist, racial stereotype that has been used specifically towards First Nation and Torres Strait Islanders within Australia for years to dehumanize them and completely invalidate their existence on this land and make it a punchline for your joke. I certainly can imagine or relate to that, but that's you. Imagine being this tone deaf to make comedy at the expense of the oppression of Indigenous people that has happened within this country for years. And it's people like yourself who has no understanding in regards to the First Nation history of this country who will go out and make these punchline jokes as if it's funny. And it's more embarrassing that a lot of you within that audience is laughing as if this is funny, whilst not understanding the harmful rhetoric and connotation that that specific phrase and punchline has in regards for Indigenous and First Nation and Torres Strait Islanders people of this country. This is in fact a daily reminder for comedians that if you've not lived through the shoes of First Nation Indigenous people or Torres Strait Islanders, you should not be making a joke at the expense of their oppression and what they've gone through and are still going through in this country. And I also find it really interesting how you used a genocide that is currently happening to obviously make a joke out of it as if it's funny. And honestly, if you have to use racism, stereotypes at the expense of making a punchline for a joke, you're not a comedian. Because the real joke's on you.
Everybody's so creative.
I'm not sure what you're trying to prove here, but I am Jewish. This is for my bat mitzvah. Danielle's trip to paradise. March 30th, 1996. I'm old. I'm not old, blessed. I am Jewish and I am pro-Palestinian. I stand Palestinian brothers and sisters to the day I die. Just because I don't stand with Israel and the Zionists doesn't mean that I'm not Jewish. Free Palestine. Love you guys.
Did you know? Did you know? Did you know? Did you know? In 2004, oil companies popularized the term carbon footprint to avoid taking the blame for killing the planet and put it on us instead. It's not your fault. It's not your fault.
She say, babe, I'm nasty, I say me too. I like fucking you in public, she say me too. She don't like using no rubber, I say me too. She wanna fuck me cause I'm thuggin', I say me too.
He used to have a pee-pee. Yeah, last time I saw it, it was a pee-pee. You change the diaper, you play rhythm guitar on the pee-pee. Ding, 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 ding. Well, the parents in here, that's the best part about having a baby boy. Ding, 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 on the pee-pee. Sometimes you do the door stopper. I'm proud of him is all I'm saying. He out here. Proud of him. Big old dick like his mama.
This is absolutely revolting to me. And it's so normalized because men see getting with an older woman as an accomplishment. They see people noticing how big they are as an accomplishment. They are raised to see this as normal. Whereas if we flip that around and it was a man talking about his daughter or a man talking about playing with his daughter like that, straight to jail. He would be behind bars, but it's so normalized for women. And I cannot for the life of me figure out why. Other than it's an accomplishment for them. Why are you inappropriately touching your son like that? Why is that funny? Why are people laughing at that? There's no way. It's gotten to the point where, I genuinely don't even know how to explain it. Women predators are so much more normalized, and it shouldn't be. These women deserve to be locked behind bars just as much as men.
French woman visiting Mexico City calls Mexican women savages for protesting the feminicides. Her discomfort comes from her inability to enjoy a coffee or visit her favorite monument. She goes on to say,
Una imagen como que parece el salvaje a los turistas. Ni siquiera podemos tomar el café o ir al banco.
O sea, yo creo que ya no tendrán turistas.
Valuing the lives of little girls or women over a coffee or a visit to a monument is crazy to me. As someone who did humanitarian work in France, let me tell you something. The French are good at protesting. For example, French farmers have dumped and sprayed animal feces onto government buildings. They have done this to protest the high taxes in the agriculture sector. I wonder why she hasn't called the French protesters savages or has called for them to shut down so tourists can enjoy the attractions. So my question to you all is, should we shut down protests to satisfy tourists like this or not?
So I've been seeing something lately, and I wondered if anyone else had noticed it, but all the usual come shopping with me girlies and, unboxing haul ladies and whatnot, they're now doing declutter with me or organize my home with me in the new year, and that's all fine and good, but I just want to point out that, they're still trying to sell you things. That vacuum you just saw, that's linked in her bio. They're still trying to get you to buy stuff, even through the, new year, new me shit. And while I love that she's taking care of things that she has, just be mindful that even these videos are trying to sell you something. And you don't have to buy anything new to take care of things that you already own. Okay, yeah, we're seeing some PR that she probably got for free. Wow, I never want to see that packaging again. Okay. But anyway, these videos are all fine and good. That is a coat for a purse. But you just keep in mind, you don't have to buy 10 million organizers to take care of your things or declutter your space. You can do that with things you already have. All right, that's all. Goodbye.